we are here together with the foreign ministers from Europe, and we have some very important deliverables. First is 1 billion that we are giving to Ukrainian defense industry, because this is where the innovation is made and where we can help Ukraine the most. And then a very, very important signal, also the tribunal, establishing the tribunal for the crimes of aggression. That means that nobody can be left unpunished for the crimes committed. Not even the leaders who have really decided to send all these soldiers here to also commit war crimes and all these atrocities that we have recognized here. So it is very, very important signal, and it's very important that there are so many countries already in the core group, but of course all the countries who stand for values, who stand for all the principles that are enshrined in the UN Charter should also join this special tribunal, because if there is no accountability, we will see this happening again. Thank you.
This is my video update on this Saturday afternoon, May the 10th, coming to you from Limassol, Cyprus. Let's talk about some news, and let's start things off with European leaders now on their way to Kiev, and actually now in Kiev. And European leaders, they are brimming with confidence, very confident European leaders in Kiev. And they believe that they are very close to getting Russia to surrender to the collective West, to Ukraine in this conflict. They are very, very confident that they are close to a victory, to the defeat of the Russian Federation and of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Why are they so confident? Why are they so certain that they are very close to winning this war? Well, the reason is because of US President Trump and that post on Truth Social from the other day, where Trump, after speaking with Zelensky, said that he is calling for a 30-day unconditional ceasefire, and if there is no 30-day unconditional ceasefire, then there will be big-time sanctions placed on Russia. He didn't say Russia, but that's what he meant when he was talking about sanctions. But he absolutely did say a 30-day unconditional ceasefire. And because Trump posted this on Truth Social and he aligned himself with Zelensky, the Europeans now believe that they are aligned with the United States of America, and that they are very close to defeating Russia, and they're going to Kiev. They're in Kiev right now, and they are going to meet with Zelensky and prepare the capitulation papers. That's right, they are preparing the surrender documents. Macron, Stammer, Tusk, BlackRock, Merz. They got on the train, they took the midnight train going to Kiev, and they are now in Kiev, and they are going to be meeting with high-ranking Zelensky officials, Yermak, Podolyak, and the Green Goblin himself, and they are going to be preparing the ceasefire surrender terms, and they are going to demand that Russia agree to these ceasefire terms. Yeah, and Peskov, he gave an interview to ABC News the other day. I've seen parts of the interview that Peskov gave to ABC News, and Peskov was asked about the ceasefire demand from Trump, from that Truth Social post. And Peskov, his reply to ABC News was that a ceasefire is a bit more nuanced than the way it's being presented. And Peskov talked about One of the things that would have to happen for Russia to agree to a ceasefire, which would be that all of the weapons and military aid from everybody, from the entire collective West, would have to stop going to Ukraine. And he mentioned that as just one of the nuances that would have to happen in order for Russia to agree to a 30-day ceasefire. BlackRock Merz seized on the statement from Peskov where he said it's a bit more nuanced. And BlackRock Merz, he came out with a statement and said that because Peskov said that a 30-day ceasefire is nuanced, that for him it meant that Russia is close to agreeing to a 30-day unconditional ceasefire and capitulating. That is what BlackRock Merz got out of Peskov's statement, when in reality Peskov was trying to be very diplomatic in his response to the ABC News journalist. So the capitulation, the surrender terms are being drafted as we speak in Kiev. Bloomberg, their article says Europe in talks with US over ultimatum to end war in Ukraine. Politico wrote Western leaders head to Kiev to demand Putin agrees ceasefire. Starmer, Macron, Tusk, and Merz join Donald Trump's call for a 30-day Ukraine war truce. One post on Truth Social. Trump makes one post on Truth Social. After speaking with Zelensky, he posts on Truth Social, we need a 30-day unconditional ceasefire or else sanctions. And from that one post, Europe, the EU, UK, they decide to get on a train, go to Kiev, draw up the ultimatum, put together the ultimatum, and now they're in it together with Trump and with the US in order to defeat Russia and to get Russia to agree to a ceasefire and agree to what would be their defeat and their capitulation from one freaking Truth Social post. My God. I really hope that Trump speaks to Putin very soon. I hope that Trump gets on the phone to Putin very soon, because you know that the minute Trump is off the phone with Putin, he's going to post on Truth Social, I had a great call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. We're very close to a peace in Ukraine, and I agree with all of Russia's terms for a peace in Ukraine. You know he's going to post something like that, which is going to make the Europeans absolutely furious, because we know how Trump operates. We know that the last person that Trump talks to is what he usually posts on Truth Social. But the Europeans, they are grabbing onto this 30-day unconditional ceasefire statement from Trump, and they see it as a signal that it is time for Europe, the UK, the US to put the screws to Putin and to Russia and to drive for a defeat of Russia in Project Ukraine. One post, one statement on Truth Social, and look what we got. Why, Trump? Why did you post that on Truth Social? Why did you have to post that on Truth Social? Now we got Merz and Macron and Starmer and Donald Tusk, and they're all in Kiev, and they're going to meet with Zelensky, and they're going to hug him, and they're going to come out with all of... Did you guys catch that? And they're going to come out with all of these statements, talking tough and talking about as long as it takes, and we're going to support you for as long as it takes. And Europe, the UK, and the US were aligned in seeing Russia defeated, and we're going to hear all of these statements now for the next few days. Why, Trump? Why did you have to post that on Truth Social? Why, oh why? Oh my God! So we have this photo, which was taken. I imagine this is Merz and Macron and Starmer and Tusk on the train going to Kiev. Their flags there in the background. And you know they had to get permission from the Russian Foreign Ministry to travel to Kiev, from Poland to Kiev. They absolutely had to call the Russian Foreign Ministry and get Russia's permission, make sure that that they'll be safe in their journey towards Kiev. But obviously a staged, professional staged photo. And I wonder what the four leaders are saying. I wonder what they are talking about. Let's see here. It looks like Tusk is in a deep conversation with Stammer. What is Tusk telling Stammer? I can't wait to get to Kiev to get another whiff of that Zelensky number 5. What is Stammer telling Tusk? I know. He smells so good. He smells so freaking good, Donald. My God, how much more time is left before we get to Kiev? Come on, speed it up, Mr. Train Man. Speed it up. I need to smell some of that Zelensky number 5. And what is Macron telling Merz? What is Macron telling Merz? You know what Macron is telling BlackRock Merz. Banker to banker, right? You know what he's telling him. I know what he's telling him. I've got sources in that train. You know what Macron told Merz? Yo, Merz, listen up. Forget about that Zelensky number 5. Have a whiff of Sauvignon Dior Savage, my perfume. Dior Savage. Have a whiff, man. Merz is telling Macron, bro, the whole train can smell your freaking perfume, man. The whole train. And button up your shirt, man. That hair, all that hair on your chest. That's what Merz is telling Macron. A professional staged photo, no doubt about it. What do you think they're telling each other on that train? What do you think they're talking about? Well, here is what Macron posted on X. I spoke several times last night with POTUS. I commend his strong call for an unconditional 30-day ceasefire, as did our British and Nordic partners earlier this morning. We must all work towards this goal without delay, false pretenses, or dilatory tactics. Yeah, Macron didn't write this post. Ukraine has already expressed its support for such a ceasefire nearly 2 months ago. I now expect Russia to do the same. Failing to do so, we are ready to respond firmly together with all Europeans and in close coordination with the United States. So my guess would be that Stammer wrote this post for Macron. That would be my guess. My guess. It doesn't sound like Macron, but anyway, that's what Macron posted. He spoke to POTUS, and they're all perfectly aligned. Ukraine, the U.S., the EU, and UK. They're all perfectly aligned now. So Stammer posted on X before he got on that train going anywhere. He said the threat Russia poses to our national security cannot be underestimated. To ramp up the pressure on Putin, I'm announcing the largest package of sanctions yet. I will always do what it takes to safeguard working people, security at home, strength abroad. Ah, that's Stammer. He's tough, man. Stammer is tough. He is a tough leader. He is protecting the working, what does he say? The working people of the UK by making sure that Zelensky gets more money. That's right. I am going to take your taxes. I'm going to take the citizens of the UK, their tax money, and I'm going to give it to the Green Goblin because I'm here to protect you, the working people of Britain. Stammer. So Stammer did announce sanctions against Russia. Yesterday, I believe, May 9th, he announced the toughest sanctions to date that the UK has placed on the Russian Federation. And basically the sanctions that they're placing on Russia is on 100 more ships in Russia's shadow, the shadow fleet. Where is that shadow fleet? Johnny Depp, where is Pirates of the Shadow Fleet? Captain Jack Sparrow, Captain Jack Stammer. Yeah, so they're placing more sanctions on the Shadow Fleet. 100 more ships are going to be sanctioned by the UK. Stammer destroying the UK ship insurance industry. Lloyd's of London, right? It's Lloyd's of London that does the insurance for ships. That at one point in time pretty much had a monopoly on shipping insurance. Not anymore, thanks to the UK establishment, the political class. Lloyd's of London is no longer a monopoly on ship insurance, and Stammer is going to make sure that another 100 more ships will find insurance elsewhere. The Shadow Ghost Fleet that is being sanctioned by the UK. The US Embassy actually posted a warning yesterday on their website about Kiev. The US Embassy in Kiev, security alert. The US Embassy has received information concerning a potentially significant air attack that may occur at any time over the next several days. The embassy, as always, recommends US citizens be prepared to immediately shelter in the event of an air alert. In the event an air alert is announced. So maybe the US Embassy knows that something's about to go down now that that Victory Day is over. A big success. Ukraine tried its best to destroy Victory Day. It threw everything it had at Russia to try and scare off world leaders, to try and scare off Russian citizens. But they failed. They tried to capture a part of Kursk. They failed, and they continue to fail in that endeavor, in that operation. Now that the Victory Day was a huge success, maybe Russia's going to crank things up. Maybe not. But the US Embassy definitely got wind of something about to go down in Kiev. My guess is that the air alert is in anticipation of Macron arriving to Kiev and Macron's very powerful Dior Savage in Kiev. Air alert, Emmanuel Macron is about to arrive in Kiev. Find shelter. So stunning and brave, Kallas, on May 9th, yesterday, she decided to travel to Kiev along with the new German foreign minister. I forgot his name, Johann Wormhole, I believe is his name. Wormhole or Wormer. Johann Wormer, Dean Wormer of Animal House. Let's just call him Dean Wormer. The foreign minister of Germany, the new foreign minister taking over for Annalena 360. This guy absolutely despises Putin. Vovan Alexis prank called him the other day, and man, does he despise Putin. He absolutely hates Putin, hates the Kremlin. Guy has a lot of animosity towards Russia. The new foreign minister of Germany, Dean Wormer. Anyway, Kaja Kallas traveled with him and some other European officials, and she delivered 1 billion euros for Ukraine's defense industry. 1 billion more euros for the Zelensky regime, courtesy of stunning and brave Kaja Kallas. And she also announced the establishment of a special tribunal to ensure that those responsible for aggression against Ukraine are held accountable. In other words, Kaja Kallas announced the establishment of a War Crimes Tribunal, an EU War Crimes Tribunal. This is what Kallas posted on X. Every inch of Russia's war has been documented. It leaves no room for doubt and no room for impunity. Today we take a decisive step towards justice by agreeing to establish a special tribunal to ensure that those responsible for aggression against Ukraine are held accountable. A war tribunal established by stunning and brave Kaja Kallas, who said that every inch of Russia's war has been documented. Every inch, Kaja Kallas says, has been documented. Every single inch, according to stunning and brave Kaja Kallas. Politico posted, EU and Ukraine launch special tribunal to prosecute Putin's war crimes. The move comes as the US and Western allies threaten further sanctions against Russia if it does not accept a ceasefire. The tribunal is set to be established under the legal framework of the Council of Europe, the non-EU body responsible for human rights in Europe. It will have its own prosecutors and judges. It can begin its work as soon as it is approved by 2/3 of member countries of the Council. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy also expressed his support for the tribunal and urged Putin to accept the ceasefire proposed by Trump. The Russian president, he added, should understand that if he does not do that, then of course he will meet the force of the international community with a severe package of sanctions. Well, if Kaja Kallas and David Lammy are warning Russia, better accept the ceasefire, better surrender, or else sanctions and a war crimes tribunal, then Russia better be very worried. You know, when Kallas and Lammy unite, then it's trouble. It is trouble. You don't want to go up against Stunning and Brave and David Lammy, that's for sure. So, Lammy, the international community, the force of the international community. He's talking about the collective West when he's talking about the international community. The 35 or 40 countries in the collective West. That's the international community, according to David Lammy. So BlackRock Merz, he spoke to Trump before he got on that train to Kiev, and we have the German readout of the conversation between the new Chancellor of Germany and the U.S. President Trump. President Trump and Chancellor Merz agreed to work closely to end the war in Ukraine. The Chancellor shared the President's request that killing in Ukraine be stopped quickly. Russia must now agree to an armistice to make room for negotiations. Trump said he would strongly support the German efforts together with France, Great Britain, Poland, and the other European partners for lasting peace. So according to the German readout, Merz is talking up an armistice. He is telling Trump that Russia must agree to an armistice, a ceasefire. And according to the German readout, Trump is supporting the German efforts along with France, Great Britain, Poland, and the other European partners. They are all aligned now, on this 30-day unconditional ceasefire plan. At least that is what the German readout is saying. They are all aligned, including U.S. President Trump, calling for an armistice, according to BlackRock Merz. Macron, Tusk, Kaja Kallas, they blasted Fico yesterday because he attended May 9th Victory Day. Very upset with Fico. Tusk is very angry with Fico. Macron also angry with Fico. Kaja Kallas, of course, she is angry with Fico. How dare you go to Moscow to attend the May 9th victory events? How dare you, according to Kaja Kallas. Fico did not like these statements from Kaja Kallas, and Fico, he met with Putin, and according to the Kremlin readout of the meeting, said that there is a new Iron Curtain that is being put up by the collective West, and that the trip to Moscow, the very difficult trip to Moscow, the closing off of airspace by some EU member states, Fico said was a childish joke. Think about that. EU member states closed off the airspace to another EU member state. a NATO member. NATO member states closed off the airspace to another NATO member state, all because he wanted to go to Moscow to honor the Red Army that defeated Nazi Germany. And Fico said as much. He actually said in a written statement to Kallas that he was going to Moscow to pay tribute to more than 60,000 soldiers of the Red Army who died while liberating Slovakia. I do not see what these brave individuals have to do with the current international situation. He actually put out a letter, a statement, and addressed it to stunning and brave Kallas. Fico said there is a huge desire to build a new Iron Curtain in various forms. We will do everything to ensure that we can shake hands through this curtain. So that's the statement from Fico. I don't think Kallas is listening, nor does she care. Her concern is Project Ukraine. That is it. That is her only concern, is Project Ukraine. The same goes for Stammer and Macron, Tusk, as well as BlackRock Merz. Their one and only concern is Project Ukraine and money and weapons to Zelensky. So Hungary and Ukraine are going at it. They are going at it big time. And Peter Sciarto, he posted on X how Hungary expelled 2 Ukrainian spies that were working in the Ukraine embassy in Budapest. Sciarto said, today we expelled 2 Ukrainian spies working under diplomatic cover at the Ukrainian embassy in Budapest. We will not tolerate smear campaigns against Hungary and the Hungarian people. Since the war in Ukraine began, anti-Hungarian propaganda has intensified. The latest defamation campaign is no exception. We Hungarians want peace. We say no to war. We have never sent weapons to Ukraine, and we never will. We haven't let Hungary be dragged into this war, and we won't. That's exactly why we keep being targeted. So I believe that earlier on Friday, the SBU, they allegedly, this is what they're saying, they allegedly busted some sort of a Hungarian spy ring in the Transcarpathia region of Ukraine, and they said that this was some sort of government, Hungarian government spy operation that they successfully infiltrated and busted, and they put out videos and photos arresting a couple of people. And this is what the Ukraine SBU is saying, if you believe this or not. But Hungary, they decided to expel two people in the Ukraine embassy in Budapest, and they said that they were spying. And then later on today, I think later on today or yesterday afternoon, Ukraine, they put out a statement, their foreign ministry, and they said that they are going to expel 2 Hungarian diplomats in the embassy in Ukraine. So Hungary is perhaps one of the only countries, along with Slovakia, in Europe, in the EU, that is taken on the Zelensky regime in a big way. Why Trump does not listen to Orban or Fico, don't know. Can't answer that question. Why he is listening to Stammer and Macron and Merz. What can I say? Actually, let's go this way. He's buddies with Orban. Orban helped him out in the election. He supported Trump, Orban. Stammer campaigned against Trump. And who's Trump at the moment? Who is he aligning with? It was Stammer. How popular is Stammer? I don't think anyone likes Stammer. Does anyone in the UK like Stammer? I think Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan is a Stammer fan. But I think that's about it. But Trump is choosing, for the time being, the way it looks is that he's choosing Starmer and Macron. Macron, also very unpopular. 15% approval or 20% approval. Merz, not popular. No one likes BlackRock Merz. Took him 2 attempts to become chancellor. First time in history that it took 2 votes to become chancellor. And I wonder what the CDU gave to the parties that eventually decided to vote Merz in as chancellor. I wonder what deals were made and what was given. Anyway, that's what's going on between Hungary and Ukraine. Let's shift gears and talk a bit about tariffs. This weekend, we're going to have the first tariff meeting between China and the United States. I believe it's taking place in Switzerland. And we're not going to get any type of agreement from these meetings. I believe these meetings are to put together the agenda and the process for further meetings and discussions between the U.S. and China. But Trump posted on Truth Social ahead of these meetings. He said, 80% tariff on China seems right, up to Scott B., in reference to Scott Bessent. And then Trump posted, China should open up its market to the USA, would be good for them. Closed markets don't work anymore. So it is, in a way, I guess you could take it as a softening of Trump's position when it comes to the tariffs against China. Instead of 145%? I guess you can make the claim that now Trump is lowering that to 80%. But he said it's up to Scott B., who is no fan of China. He is a China hawk, Scott Bessent. But they are finally talking. We are finally getting to some negotiations, the beginning of some negotiations between the United States and China. So Ursula was asked about meeting Trump to discuss tariffs between the EU and the United States after Trump said that Ursula was so fantastic. She is so fantastic. I don't know if he was serious. I don't know if he was trolling her. Some people say he was trolling her, perhaps. Other people say Trump calls everybody beautiful or fantastic. Also true, but it doesn't matter. Ursula was asked after Trump called her fantastic if she's going to be meeting with the U.S. president anytime soon to discuss tariffs. And Ursula's response was that yes, they would meet. She said that they did meet at the Pope's funeral. So she did say that. She said they had a good discussion or something like that. And she said she would meet with Trump, but Ursula has some demands. Or she has one demand. She says that she will not meet with Trump until the U.S. has some concrete proposals to make to the European Union. She will not engage in trade talks, according to Politico, unless there is something concrete to discuss. If I go to the White House, I want to have a package we can discuss, the European Commission president said. I want tools. I want tools to discuss. Which way should we go? Should we walk on the beach road? Should we walk on this road, or should we walk in the city? Tough decisions to make. Let's walk in the city. I've been on the beach for the past couple of videos. Let's check out Limassol, Old Town. So let's move on and talk about the big story. The big story for the week, actually, which is the escalation between India and Pakistan. As I said in my video update yesterday, a lot of fog of war. Really hard to understand where this is going. We're either heading towards a de-escalation. There are talks taking place which we're not being told about, and we're heading to some sort of off-ramp, or we're heading towards a big war, big time escalation, and a big conflict. Nice apartments, huh? Seafront apartments for rent. So we are getting reports from Indian media that there are some discussions taking place between senior military officials from India and Pakistan. A first phone call between India and Pakistan has taken place, according to senior military officials from India. But we don't really have any more information other than that. There has been no official confirmation of these contacts, of these calls. So we'll see if there's an official government confirmation that military officials have spoken to each other. In the meantime, we have military escalation. India, they carried out operations against Pakistani military bases, and then Pakistan launched operations into India, and we are in an escalatory cycle, an escalatory spiral at the moment, and those are tough to stop. Marco Rubio, he has confirmed that he is speaking to both sides. The U.S. State Department put out a statement saying that Rubio has spoken to his Indian counterpart, Jai Shankar, and I believe there was a statement saying that he has spoken to Pakistan as well, and the U.S. has offered mediation to try and find an off-ramp. But we'll see. We will see. At the moment, we are in an escalatory cycle. So that's the update there. And one more story. It's a bit of a long video. A lot of news to get to today. My God, there is no rest. There is no rest for the wicked. One more story, and this is coming from the Jerusalem Post. They put out an article which a lot of people are talking about. I mean, a lot of people. Ahead of Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia, the Jerusalem Post posted, Gulf diplomatic source claims Trump will announce U.S. recognition of Palestinian state. So everyone is reading this title, this headline, and everyone is saying, wow, this is huge news. Huge news. That is what everyone is saying, but you have to read the article from the Jerusalem Post, and this is being picked up by a lot of outlets. When you read the article, it paints a different picture as to what the headline is saying. So in the article, the Jerusalem Post says, will Donald Trump recognize a Palestinian state? A Gulf diplomatic source who declined to be named or disclose his position told the Media Line, which is another outlet to the Media Line, quote, President Donald Trump will issue a declaration regarding the state of Palestine and American recognition of it, and that there will be the establishment of a Palestinian state without the presence of Hamas. The source also said if an announcement of American recognition of the state of Palestine is made, it will be the most important declaration that will change the balance of power in the Middle East, and more countries will join the Abraham Accords. Oh boy. A Gulf diplomatic source who declined to be named or disclose his position told the Media Line outlet. That is what the Jerusalem Post is running with. Maybe this is true, but I don't buy it at all. I do not buy this at all. This is another one of those reports which reference sources familiar with, or anonymous officials said, titles, names, positions. Who are these people? Who are these people? A diplomatic source who contacted another media outlet and does not want to be named, said, da 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 da. I cannot see Trump doing this. And I think there's a couple of big giveaways as to why he's not going to go to Saudi Arabia and announce that the U.S. has recognized Palestine, the Palestinian state, without Hamas. That's what this diplomatic source who does not want to be named is saying. And I think there's two countries that are not going to be at these meetings with Saudi Arabia, and that is Egypt and Jordan. And I think if Trump was going to make this big announcement while in Saudi Arabia, would he not have those countries in attendance as well? And of course, how would he be able to do this without Israel or consulting Israel or I mean, just traveling to Saudi Arabia, making this announcement? No way. No way. I don't see this as a very reliable report, but a lot of people are talking about this and a lot of outlets are picking this up. So anyway, I had to report this as well, even though my guess would be that Trump's trip to Saudi Arabia is going to be very much business related. I think we're going to see big business deals being signed. And of course, we're going to see perhaps we're going to see some sort of nuclear energy deal. And maybe, just maybe, as I reported yesterday, maybe we will see the delinking of Saudi Arabia and Israel, the requirement that Saudi Arabia must normalize relations, recognize Israel in order to be given nuclear energy, nuclear technology. Perhaps we will see this delinked. That would be a huge story. But I think the recognition of a Palestinian state, I don't see that happening on this trip to Saudi Arabia. So let's do a clown world, and we can wrap this video up, and we'll do a quick clown world. And this is courtesy of 008 Stammer, who has invited Bizarro Zelensky to the UK on an official state visit. Keir Starmer has invited Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara for a state visit to the UK. That is the announcement. The HTS al-Qaeda al-Jolani, who now goes by the name of al-Shara, he has been invited to the UK for a state visit following his state visit to France, where he met with Macron, dressed up in a very nice, very expensive suit and tie, very well groomed, very well dressed, a sharp dressed man. ZZ Top, sharp dressed man. Al-Jolani, Bizarro Zelensky, has now been invited to the UK. And that's the video, everybody. The Duran.locals.com, 008 Stammer. Oh boy, 008 Stammer, the Duran.locals.com. We are on Rumble, ODYSEE, BitChute, Telegram, Rockfin, and X. Go to the Duran shop, pick up some merch like what I'm wearing in this video update. The link is in the description box down below. Take care.